What's going on? Today's lesson, guys, I had a lot of comments, questions, concerns over our last lesson, which was lesson 5-4, and it involved solving system of equations by elimination. So I'm going to kind of note that up top here. So this entire video is going to focus on elimination, solving system of equations. And guys, it's all based off of this worksheet that you guys should have completed and you should have went through. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to pick some problems and I will number them properly off to the side over here so that way you know which one I'm on. I'd really appreciate it if you had this out. You're going through your work, seeing how yours matched up with mine, and then corrected it if you needed to, or if you got it right, then use this as an opportunity to kind of keep your mind fresh and keep going with this system of equations. I think a lot of us guys are really, we're overthinking how to solve some of these, and we're making it a little more difficult on ourselves. So let's go ahead and let's get started with number one. So our first problem was x minus 3y equals -5. And then our second one was x plus 3y equals 1. And again, my point here is I want to eliminate an x or eliminate a y. And it doesn't matter which one. That's the cool thing about these. It doesn't matter which one of these you choose to get rid of. Now, in order to eliminate, remember, I need whatever number is in front of the x to be the same, or I need whatever number is in front of the y to be the same. And the neat thing about number one, guys, is both of them are the same. There's a 1 in front of both of my x's, and there's a 3 in front of both of my y's. So it really doesn't matter if you choose to eliminate your x or if you choose to eliminate your y. Now, what you do have to pay attention to is the sign. Notice with your x's, they're both positive. The sign is the same. With my y's, the signs are different. One's a positive while one's a negative. So why don't we make like a little rule over here for ourselves? So we can say, when signs are the same, we want to subtract. And that's kind of a nice little way of thinking about it. Same, subtract, both start with an S. And the reason we subtract is we want to create a 0. We want to eliminate this. So if I did an x minus an x, so if I started with an x and I subtracted that x, I'm left with nothing. I'm left with 0, and that's my key there. Well, in reverse, you can also create the rule when signs are different, add. And again, a kind of a little trick here. There's a D in different, there's a D in add. So both of them letter-wise, they kind of match up. Doesn't matter which one you choose here. Now, I'm going to choose subtraction. I'm going to eliminate my x's. So if I do, because both of my x's, there's a 1 out front, so I'm good to go. They both have the same number out front. X minus x is a 0. I can cross that out. So now -3 minus 3. Again, if you have to, go to your calculator. -3 minus 3, -6. -6y equals -5 minus 1, -6. Now I want to get y by itself, so I'm going to divide by -6 on both sides. y equals 1. Now I need to find x, because remember, when we do these, I need to find what x equals. I also need to find what y equals. So I'm going to plug it right back in to my original problem. So I'm going to do this. It doesn't matter which one you choose, the first equation or the second. I'll put it in the second equation. So x plus 3 times 1 equals 1. Then x plus 3 equals 1. I'm going to subtract 3 on both sides to get x by itself. X equals 1 minus 3, negative 2. Now, again, I kind of left this in your instructions, guys, for this. If we have an x and a y, that's the same thing as having an ordered pair, because when we graph something, we have an x value, we also have a y value. So my answer could be wrote like this, or it could also be wrote like negative 2, 1. So the answer to number 1 is going to be negative 2, 1. So if I come over to my homework sheet, the only one that matches up would be yellow, negative 2, 1. Very good. All right, let's move ahead. I want to look at number 3. So if I look at number 3, my problem here is 2x plus 8y equals 22. And my second equation is going to be 8x minus 8y equals 8. All right, let's solve this one. Again, I'm looking for my x and my y's. Which one has the same number out front? So with my x values, I have a 2 and an 8. Those are not the same, so I cannot eliminate my x. What about my y's? I have an 8 and an 8. Those are the same, so I can eliminate my y value. Now let's look at the signs. I have a positive and a negative. When signs are different, add. So I'm going to add my two equations together. So 2 plus 8, 10x. 8 plus negative 8, that's equal to 0. If I type in my calculator, 8 plus negative 8, that's 0. Those cancel out. That's the whole point of why we're doing this. And then that is equal to 22 plus 8, which is 30. Get x by itself. I'm going to divide by 10 on both sides. X is equal to 30 divided by 10, which is 3. All right, again, I want to find now my y. I have my x value. Now let's find my y value. Take your 3, plug it in for x. It does not matter which one of these you plug it into. I'm going to do the first equation this time, just to kind of show you. It doesn't matter which equation you're using. So 2, here, remember to plug it in. So 2 times 3 plus 8y equals 22. So 2 times 3 is 6 plus 8y equals 22. Now I need to get y by itself, so I need to subtract 6 first. 8y is equal to, we subtract, we're going to get 16. And now to get y by itself, divide by 8. Y is equal to 2. So for number 3, x equals 3, y equals 2. Your ordered pair, x comes first, is going to be 3, 2. Very good. Let's move ahead a little bit and let's move on to, I want to look at number 6. I'm going to kind of come off to the side over here. So for number 6, we have the equation 4x minus 3y equals 1. Negative 8x plus 6y equals negative 2. So those are my two equations that we're given. And again, the first thing I'm looking for is my x value or my y value, if either of them has a number that is the same. 4 and 8 are not the same. 3 and 6 are not the same. I need to make one of them the same. That way I can eliminate an x or a y. So how can I, and again, it does not matter which one you want to make like the other. I'm going to choose my x. How can I make this 4 into an 8? I can multiply by 2. So I'm going to multiply this entire equation by 2. When I do this, and I distribute this 2 into everything, I now get 8x, 2 times negative 3 is going to be negative 6y, and then equals 2 times 1, 2. If it helps, you could even go through here when you're finished and put a line through it. Does not matter, just that way you're not looking at 3 equations, you're looking at just the 2. Alright, so now I'm looking at my equations, and hey, my x's are the same now. One's an 8, and the second one's an 8, so they're good. One's a negative, one's a positive. When the signs are different, add. So I'm going to add these two equations together. Guys, if you did this one a little different, that's okay. There's a lot of ways of going about these. So if I do now negative 8 plus 8, I'm going to get 0. So these cancel. You can even show that. 0. If it helps to write the 0, write 0 in. Now if I do 6 plus negative 6, I also get 0. So I'm looking right now at 0 plus 0 equals negative 2 plus 2. And this is 0 as well. This equation came out kind of funky. I have 0 equals 0. Well, this is true. 0 is equal to 0. So on number 6, this one is actually going to be an infinite number of solutions. Anytime, guys, you have a number is equal to another number, then you're going to end up with an infinite number of solutions. Let's take a look at another one of these. Let's look at number 8. When I look at number 8, I have negative 3x plus 10x, plus 10y equals 11. And my second equation is going to be negative 8x plus 2y equals negative 20. All right, first thing I'm looking for, the numbers with my x's, are they the same? No. Are the numbers with my y's the same? No. So I'm going to have to change or modify one of these equations so that one of the x or y values is the same as the other. Now here's something I like to ask myself. Is there anything I can multiply 3 by to give me 8? No. Is there anything I can multiply 2 by to give me 10? The answer is yes. I can multiply 2 times 5 to give me 10. So I'm going to multiply this entire equation by 5. I'm going to just distribute it in, just like we did in the last one. Make sure you multiply it to all the pieces. So 5 times negative 8 is equal to negative 40x. 5 times positive 2y is going to be equal to positive 10y. And then 5 times negative 20 is equal to negative 100. Now something I suggested, guys, in our last video was that on any of these problems where you've got maybe a bunch of work right here, rewrite it where your equations are right above one another. So I'm going to rewrite these. My equation that was not messed with, so my negative 3x plus 10y equals 11. And then I'm also going to write down the one that I just came up with. So negative 40x plus 10y equals negative 100. By multiplying this equation by 5, now do one of my x or y values match up? Well, on my x values, one of them is a 3, the other is a 40. Those are not the same. What about my y's? One of them is a 10, the other one's a 10. So they match up. So I can eliminate my y. Remember your rule. When signs are the same, subtract. Notice with this equation, the two equations, the signs are the same. I have plus 10, plus 10. So I'm going to subtract these two equations. Now let's go through here and let's type this in our calculator just as we see it. So just like I'm doing, negative 3 minus negative 40. We hit enter, I get 37. So I'm going to get 37x. My y's 10 minus 10. That's going to give me 0 equals 11 minus negative 100. Again, type it just like you see it. Minus negative, minus negative. Hit enter, 111. I get x by itself, divide by 37. X equals 3. So there's my x. I need to get y. So I'm going to plug this 3 back into one of my equations. I'll plug it in this first one up top here that we see. Negative 3. Now everywhere I see an x, I'm going to write in 3. So negative 3 times 3 plus 10y equals 11. Negative 3 times 3, negative 9 plus 10y equals 11. I'm going to add 9, because I need to move it to the other side. 10y is equal to 20. Get y by itself. Divide by 10. Y is equal to 2. So my answer for this one is going to be 3, 2. So we can look on our sheet here. Number 8. Looks like it's going to be brown. 3, 2. If you're checking yours at home, when we did number 6, it's going to line up with pink. Infinite number of solutions. Now guys, I want to do one more problem. So that means of your 14 that you had to do for homework, Mr. Garrett's done 5 of them. So that means you only had 9 problems to really kind of do on your own. I would highly encourage you to look back over it. If you've already submitted your work, to maybe unsubmit it in the classroom and then go through and check it and then resubmit it once you've gone through and you've checked over your work. And I hope this video helps maybe comprehend or understand this lesson a little easier for some of us. Again, I don't want you to overthink it. I'm going to give you some additional homework. I'm going to find out who's watching these videos and who's not. But your additional homework, guys, is going to be to leave a comment or email Mr. Garrett. And that doesn't mean our parents, and I know your parents can do it, that means you. You guys are going to be in high school next year, and you need to start taking responsibility. And I want you to either write me an email or leave a comment in our Google Classroom telling me if you have any more questions about this lesson. Because if you have any more questions about it, then I want to spend one more day on this, because I want to make sure all of us understand this before we move on. Just because this material is going to be something you're going to see in high school for sure whenever you go in as a freshman, okay? So again, not much to do tomorrow. Watch this video, just double check your work, and then again, just write me a comment, either an email or comment on the Google Classroom, all right? All right, let's look at number 14. So with this one, we had negative 9x minus 5y equals 26. And my second equation was 4x minus 4y equals negative 24. Again, first question, do my x's match up? No. One is a 9, one is a 4. What about my y's? Do they match up? No. One's a 5, one's a 4. I need to make one of them like the other. All right, so for this one, start with your smaller number. Can I multiply anything by a 4 to get a 9? No. Can I multiply 4 by anything to get a 5? No. Guys, because that's the case, and I cannot just multiply one to look like the other, like we did on our previous problem, I'm actually going to have to multiply both equations on this problem here. I want to get a like term for both equations. Now, I like working with round numbers. So when I see this 4 and this 5, there's a number that instantly pops in my head, and that number is 20. 20 is a round number, and when I do 4 times 5, I get 20. So my goal in this is to get a 20 in front of the y for both equations. What do I need to multiply 5 by to get to 20? I need to multiply it by 4. So I'm going to multiply my top equation by 4. When I do such, 4 times negative 9x, that's going to give me negative 36x. 4 times negative 5y is going to give me negative 20y. 4 times 26, that's going to give me 104. All right, now let's look at my bottom equation, because again, I'm trying to get this 20 next to my y. What do I need to multiply 4 by to get to 20? I need to multiply by 5. So I'm going to multiply my second equation by 5. So this time, 5 times 4x, that's going to be equal to 20x. 5 times negative 4y, that's going to be equal to negative 20x. And 5 times 24, negative 24, is going to be equal to negative 120. Now let's ask myself that same question we start with. Do my x's match? The answer is no. 36 and 20 is not the same. What about my y's? 20 and 20. Yes, those match. So those can be eliminated. Remember your rule. Same sign, subtract. Both of these are a subtraction, so I'm going to subtract two equations. So let's go through and let's subtract. So negative 36 minus 20. Negative 56x. Negative 20 minus negative 20. That's going to give you 0. So these will cancel. Equals 104 minus negative 120. And that gives me 224. I get x by itself. I'm going to divide by negative 56. X equals negative 4. Now, just like we've done on every problem, to find the second variable, I'm going to plug in the one I found into one of my other equations. Guys, this is the cool thing about this. You cannot go wrong with which equation you plug it into. You can take negative 4 and put it in any of these equations, and you're going to get the right y. I'm going to choose one of these first equations because the numbers are smaller. They're going to be easier to work with. I'm going to actually choose this bottom equation right here. 4 times, so I'm going to go ahead and insert negative 4 where I see an x, minus 4y equals negative 24. Let's go through and let's simplify. 4 times negative 4, negative 16, minus 4y equals negative 24. I want to then get y by itself, so I'm going to add 16, negative 4y is equal to Negative 24 plus 16, negative 8. Last but not least, divide by negative 4. I divide y, pencil is not working, y is equal to 2. So my ordered pair is going to be negative 4, 2. And there you have it, number 14. Last one on the sheet, negative 4, 2. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I hope it helps some of you guys that were struggling with this lesson. And like I said, go through, look at your work, correct it. I want everybody to get 100% on this, and then go through, write me an email, leave me a comment on the Google Classroom, one or the other, and just let me know your thoughts. Hey, Mr. Garrett, I understand it now. Mr. Garrett, I'm still maybe struggling on a certain concept with this. Let me know. Let me know what you think. So, number 1 is going to be video. Number 2 is going to be correct worksheet. Hopefully you got them all right already, so that way you don't have to correct it. And then number 3, email / comment. And again, this is going to let me know who's watching these videos and who's not, because that was not on your e-learning. That's only from this video that you know to do that last step. So there you go, guys. Good luck. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks, guys.